So, with Barbados' 50th Independence Day around the corner, I figured I would share a little bit of my experience as a Bajan living in Chicago that makes it clear that I am not from here. I've lived in Chicago for just over a year and a half now, and in preparation for coming here, there were certain things that I knew would be different. Like, I knew that they were going to drive on the opposite side of the road. I knew that they would spell color without the U and organization with a Z instead of an S. But then there are other things that I could not have predicted. Certain things that have caught me off guard that just reminds me that I am definitely a Bajan. I am reminded I am a Bajan when someone enters a room full of people for the first time for the day, they don't say good morning, and I have to resist the urge to ask them if I woke up with them today. Or in other words, is it that you've seen me already for the day and this is why you don't feel the need to greet me with a good morning? In Barbados, you would get so much flack for not saying good morning, especially to people that you know or work with. But sometimes we'll greet complete strangers too. It doesn't even have to be an enthusiastic greeting. Sometimes mumbling morning under your breath is actually more acceptable than saying nothing at all. But in Chicago, greetings of this sort are not expected. You might get them occasionally, but it's not a big deal if you don't. So you could enter the office full of your co-workers for the first time for the day, head straight for your desk without a word, and no one will think anything of it. So of course, I spent the first couple weeks thinking that I worked with very, very unmannerly people. Until one day it came up in conversation. I explained how things work in Barbados, they explained how things work in Chicago, and we had a big laugh over the obvious culture difference. Turns out that they're not rude after all. Now, mornings in the office sound like this. Morning, morning, good morning, good morning, morning, morning. Hey guys, morning. Morning, morning. I'm reminded I'm a Bajan when I say that I would have done something, but I really mean that I actually did that thing. This was another point that came up in our little culture difference conversation in the office. For example, I would say something like, I would have sent that email off to ABC, and I would have also made that follow-up call to XYZ. What I mean when I say that is that I actually did send the email and I did make the follow-up call. But what the others in the office are hearing is, well, I would have made that call, but I didn't for some reason. So the others in the office were wondering for months why I kept mentioning things that I intended to do but didn't. And I kept wondering why they were asking me if I did things when I already told them that I did them. Certainly glad we cleared that up. You know you're a Bajan when you peep a girl on the train with a menthol inhaler just chilling in her nostril and you expect her to start smacking and patting her hair. Moving along swiftly, I am reminded I'm a Bajan woman when a man, a stranger, cat calls at me and I think to myself, well, yeah, I did feel kind of cute today. Turns out that seating at women in these parts is heavily frowned upon, psst, my friend, and is actually seen as street harassment. I'm still trying to figure out what it says about me that I don't feel in the least bit harassed, but rather quite affirmed in my cuteness. Lastly, I am reminded that I'm a Bajan when I get legit homesick at the thought of not being physically there to celebrate this 50th Independence Day. I've always considered myself quite patriotic. I actually get a little teary during the national anthem. You know that last part that gets like super intense? I don't think I've ever said that out loud. I've always appreciated all that Barbados has to offer, and even more now after having been away for some time. Don't get me wrong, Chicago, I love you, and there'll always be a special place in my heart for you now, but Barbados will always be home. Now it's your turn. Share what culture differences you experienced while living or traveling abroad that caught you completely off guard. Or if there are any that I experienced that also happened to you. I look forward to hearing. Thanks for watching. And happy 50th Independence Day, Barbados!